Hello and welcome to the House That Happens, recorded, well, not this time at Chewy's Bar and Grill, the only place to be in suburban Etobicoke, voted 4 times the best dive bar in the GTA, and it's number 1 in our hearts, but we're recording from a different location today. We're recording from the Milani compound. I'm Andrew Milani, and I'm joined by...
Stephen Milani.
Oh my god, you're not Cruz?
No, I'm not. Sorry to disappoint.
No. I think we can get along with one show without Cruz, and don't worry, Cruz, he's okay. He's just got some holiday stuff to deal with, but he will be back next week for our year in review show featuring biggest bitch of the year, so we're all excited for that.
Yeah, can't wait.
I know you're not going to be part of that, or at least not yet, but who would you say was your biggest bitch of 2023 in the sports world?
Oh man, there's a lot of good nominees, that's for sure. I know you guys were talking, or you were talking about yesterday at dinner about who could possibly win it, so I don't know if I want to spoil that.
Please don't.
Yes, I won't. Don't worry. But if I'll go a different route, I'll pick from F1. I'd like to say Esteban Ocon.
Ooh, okay.
He's a bitch. I don't like him.
I'm thinking of Alpine for a different award for the award show next week, but I like that choice. But speaking of bitch moves, a very interesting thing happened in the world of soccer this week. I know you're a bigger soccer guy than I am, Steven, but the European Super League appears to be back on. What's your take on that?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, that kind of came back to me as a shock. Like, I wasn't expecting those talks to come back at all, and when I first started hearing about it, it caught me by surprise for sure. So, we'll see. I mean, this time they're doing it differently. I was just reading, the proposal is 64 men's teams split across 3 divisions and 32 women's teams split across 2 divisions.
Yeah, so for the men it would be a 16-team top tier, 16-team second tier, and then 32 teams in the third tier.
Right, yeah.
How is it supposed to work before that? I don't remember. Was it supposed to be just 32 teams before?
I think it was 12. It was only 12 teams was the original Super League.
Oh, I think it may have been 20. I think 12 confirmed
20, yes.
that they want. Okay.
Yes,
yeah, you're okay. It was just going to be 1 tier though. And I guess we should mention as well. It went, I guess, to court, I guess, in Europe.
Yeah.
And then it was viewed as unconstitutional for UEFA to block this. When this is like a year ago now, or longer even.
2, 3 years. Like it was. I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2021. I want to say, or 2020. It was around that time.
Yeah. I remember it came up once early on the podcast with me and Cruz was originally for it, but then he saw James Corden speaking about it, and that changed his mind, of all things.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah.
When he talks about things.
Well, he became anti-European Super League because of James Corden.
There we go.
Yeah. So that's your take on that. And we should also mention as well that some of the big clubs in Germany, England, and France are still just not willing to participate in this at all. And I believe the German, French, and English football associations have all kind of put their foot down and said we don't like this at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of. That's interesting.
Yeah, so we'll see where this goes. But obviously Real Madrid, Barcelona, they're kind of the ones kind of fronting this. The big clubs in Italy too, Juventus, AC Milan, Inter Milan are all kind of behind this as well.
I'm surprised too, though, with the French league that they PSG wouldn't be interested because that's a farmers' league. Let's be honest.
That's a chance for them to actually win something.
I guess, yeah. And I guess it helps the league overall with the revenue, I guess, in a way. But I don't know, you also want better competition. But I don't know.
That's fair.
It's both sides of it, right?
Yeah. So is there a track for a start date potentially for this, or is this still kind of up in the air?
Yeah, I have no idea. I think it's still up in the air as far as I'm concerned. So. Yeah, we'll have to look more into it, I guess, or wait for things to come out.
So we'll see what goes on with European Super League. I'm very interested. It's going to be midweek games, so I'm guessing Wednesday games, probably.
Yeah.
So from Europe to the rest of the world, we got the World Juniors starting on Boxing Day. Yes. Very excited.
Very.
We get a very rare Canada-US exhibition game tonight as well.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay,
yeah.
Nice.
Cool. And then I guess the big news heading into the tournament is Macklin Celebrini will not be suspended for that questionable hit in the exhibition game against Switzerland last night.
Okay. That's I mean, you know what, seeing I saw the replay of it, and I did feel like the Swiss player kind of turned his back at the last minute.
Yes.
So I could see why that's no suspension. So I think that's a good call.
Yeah. International rules, they're a little bit different with hits from behind though, and they're a lot more strict. I know that.
Yeah. So that's why I'm actually surprised that he didn't get a game, but I think it's the right call overall. Not just saying that for the bias, though.
I might... if this was a regular tournament game, I might feel a little bit differently in terms of if he would have gotten suspended or not.
Of course, yeah.
But exhibition game, so maybe Canada gets a little bit of a lucky break there. Canada, obvious favorites, do you think?
Yeah, oh, God, I think so. I mean, they are every year they walk into this tournament, right?
Are you expecting Celebrini to be the top scorer of the team, or do you think one of the overagers is going to kind of step up, maybe like a Matthew Poitras?
Yeah, honestly, I was going to say like maybe like one of those guys, like an NHL or some experienced player, I think is going to help lead the way. There's even Owen Beck, too, who I really like. He's been killing it.
Really? You mean the Habs prospect before the Leafs prospects?
I mean, he's...
Don't give Cruz any ammo for next week, please.
I'm just saying that he's a name that I've heard for much longer. So I've known about him for a while. I know what he can do. I think he played with the Petes in junior.
Okay.
I don't know if he's still there. I think he might have gone to a different team. But
he's very fast.
Yeah, I've seen him play too. So I can say he's a very good player, very fun to watch. Even Matthew Savoie on the team, he's a name I recognize. I think he can do well as also.
Connor Geekie was on the team last year.
Yep. Yeah, he's another guy. I really like him as well. So. Yeah, and we'll see. And then, like you said, with the overagers and the NHLers, we'll see what they can do with them.
Is there anyone else, any other countries in the tournament you're expecting to kind of like step up as the top contender? Is it a Sweden? Is it a Finland? The States?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's always like the usual suspects: Sweden, Finland, States.
No Russia, obviously.
Yeah, unfortunately, no Russia again. Really sucks because I just want to see their players and see them compete and have them at the highest level, but. Unfortunate with what's going on. I don't know. I'm trying to think more about upsets and like who can be like one of those sleeper teams. Like there's like Canada's group with like Germany and Latvia. They're usually both sleeper teams, but one of them won't be able to move on because, like I said, they're together in the same group. Czechia and Slovakia have that ability to. Same with Switzerland.
And Czechia is kind of back on the rise. There was a little bit, maybe like a decade and a half, where their junior program was kind of middling. Now they're kind of like back on the rise again. Some prominent Czech players coming back into the NHL.
Oh yeah, getting to silver last year too against Canada, so that can help. Norway though, I feel like they're the team on the outside. I don't think anyone's expecting them to do anything.
No offense, Norway, but no one's really paying attention to here. At least no one in North America. But you know what? Germany could be one of those teams. They're the one they play Canada New Year's Eve, I believe.
Yes,
that could be the game to kind of watch out for.
Yeah.
Could be the kind of trap game.
And like I said, Latvia is always sneaky good too. They're a trap game as well. They've been getting actually much better over the years. So we'll see what they can do.
Canada, Finland, Boxing Day, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at least. Can't wait for that. Anything else on World Juniors you want to get in?
No, just one of my favorite times of the year. It's just some great hockey to watch. Back and forth action. Not a lot of defense. A lot of high scoring games. So. Just enjoy it. Sit back and enjoy.
All right. So we'll take it from World Junior hockey to NHL hockey. Obviously, the Leafs have some goalie woes ever since Joseph Wall went out. Samsonov laying a giant egg against Buffalo, losing 9-3. I would say that was the worst game the Leafs played this season. Goalie gave him nothing. By the time Martin Jones came in, the team had kind of just checked out mentally. You could kind of tell. Yeah. First... Like, a lot of those goals on Jones, I'm not going to hold against him. Especially that first one, that breakaway by Okposo. Perfect shot on a breakaway, top corner.
Yeah.
Tough to stop that one. But do you think the Leafs will need to trade for a goalie? Or do they just kind of wait and see with Samsonov? Try and get his... Because we know he's an up-and-down kind of goalie, right? He's going to ride those highs, ride those lows. Do you kind of hope that next high is around the corner if you're the Leafs?
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, I do think that, especially with the situation that you're in now, with Wall being out, and you're only left with Samsonov and Jones, obviously most of your money is invested in Samsonov, and I think you have to find a way to get him back to just being himself again, and like getting through this rut that he's going through. So as crazy as this may sound, for tonight's game against Columbus, I think Jones gives you the best chance to win the game, but I think you got to play Samsonov.
Wow, I completely disagree. I think you got to... It's all about banking points.
I know, it is about that too, but I feel like they have enough of a cushion at this moment that you can... It's just one more game before the break. I would play him personally just to try and get him back and see what you got with him, because you have to get him going again.
I think they made the mistake in how they played this. I would have played Jones against Buffalo and Samsonov tonight. However, I'm not starting Samsonov 2 games in a row.
That's the thing, right? But... Yeah, I don't know. You got
especially after that garbage performance.
That's true, yeah, and because that's the thing, I wasn't watching at like the game when it was live. But I would later watch the highlights, and that was rough. That was some rough hockey, especially like all of his goals. He's doing like the I like to call it the meerkat when like the goalie's trying to like look around the defender. And like when you see it, when a player sees a goalie doing that, like it's it. Like you're going the other way and it's going in. Like just on all the goals, he looked clueless. He was like, "How did that go in?" It's like, yeah, when you're right. When you have a goalie asking those questions about himself, yeah, I guess he does need some time off. But again, you got to find a way to get him going again.
Do you think the Leafs explore the trade market for goalies as the season goes on?
I think they will for sure. There are definitely options out there. I know
a lot of teams carrying a third goalie. Let's not forget.
Yeah, that's true too. And I know my friend kind of brought this one up, and I kind of agree with it. Where like New Jersey with their goalie situation, how like they haven't really had anyone emerge there yet either.
Yeah.
So maybe a potential swap there could be like I don't want to go too crazy, but like
no, I disagree with that because I think if you're going to be the Leafs, you're going for not only a playoff spot but like expecting to contend in the playoffs.
Yes.
You want a goalie that's like on his way to having a good season, you know. I don't want to take a chance on a guy that may or may not be good. Mm-hmm. I think like likely good scenarios, you get a goalie from I don't even know who the team would be. I haven't done a deep dive into this yet, but like a team that's like not very good but has some good goaltending. Then they'll take Samsonov kind of like a flyer on and be like, oh, let's see if we can extract any talent out of him because we know the talent is there with Samsonov.
Of course,
it's just what's between the ears that's been a lot of the problem.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, thinking quickly off teams like that. I mean, Arizona's actually doing good right now, but I was gonna say Carol Vizmelka.
They might be in a playoff spot themselves, though. That's the thing,
why,
right?
yeah. Like they're kind of just holding steady. I don't think they want to do money moves because like they weren't planning to be good this year. So
no.
I'm
gonna take a look quickly at the standings. I mean, like, I don't know. Do you think Christian Jarry from Pittsburgh would be available?
That's the thing. Pittsburgh. If they eventually decide like that, obviously it's not working this year and they got to start thinking about the future. I don't know if Jarry would be available because he's still young-ish for a goalie. Or is he like, what, 27, 28 maybe?
Yeah, around that age.
Yeah.
Late 20s, early 30s. There's always one of the Montreal goalies you could go after. Cruz is going to love me saying that.
Yeah, well,
he wants to get rid of Jake Allen yesterday.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I think watching SportsCenter yesterday, they were talking about Jake Allen potentially being on the move to a team that needs a veteran goalie. I don't think that trade happens with the Leafs, but I could see it happening somewhere else.
Very unlikely unless the Leafs are willing to overpay.
Yeah. Which we did once for Plekanec. I don't know if we want to do it again.
Oh my god, it was a second-round pick. Relax. John Gibson on Anaheim still has 4 years left on his contract. I mean, I know we've been talking about John Gibson getting traded for the last like 4 years now. Basically, ever since that contract kicked in.
Yeah, literally.
It's been like just talk about him getting traded. I don't know how Leafs management feels about him. I know his value is a little bit lower lately. I still think that contract still might be a little bit too big for the Leafs to take on, unless Anaheim retains, which I really can't see them doing with a contract that big. So at least for the time being, I think the Leafs are stuck with Samsonov.
Yeah, I agree.
One thing I also want to get to is Auston Matthews, obviously. We are witnessing just pure greatness with Matthews. On pace for over 70 goals. Mm-hmm. I've been banging home that drum for the last couple weeks now. Cruz, you might not like to hear it, but there you go.
Oh, I've been saying it ever since opening night. So.
There you go. Just never take this guy for granted. Mm-hmm. We are witnessing the best Leafs talent of all time. Maybe on his way, probably is on his way to being the greatest Leaf player of all time.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like I think by the time this contract's over, I won't be surprised if he's number one in points if he passes Sundin. Or at least
him or Marner.
Close. Yeah.
Him or Marner are going to be 1-2, I think, by the end. Matthews is already like well on his way to being number one Leafs goals all time.
Easily.
And he obviously with leading the league in goals right now. I don't think he's going to be a true contender for like the Hart Trophy or anything like that. Mm-mm. Could get some love for the Selke. We'll see because he's starting to play some power play time, right? But
penalty kill, yeah.
Or penalty kill, excuse me.
Oh, exactly.
Could get some Selke love. He always, not always, but he always seems to get a few votes for the Lady Bing. Mm-hmm. Could he be building up an opportunity there? We'll see. I love Auston Matthews. If you're a Leafs fan, you should too. Glad to have him for another, was it 4 years?
Yep. 4 years on top of this one.
Yeah.
So.
We'd be remiss if we didn't bring up the Montreal Canadiens.
Of course.
Who continue to trudge along the season.
Yep.
You know what? The most surprising thing about Montreal is their home record: 7-9-2 at home, which is not what you expect from this team. 8-4-3 on the road, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
They kind of I guess. I don't know. Is it that kind of underdog style that they play that's kind of leading to that, or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is because, like, looking at the standings, even like when I was this past weekend, I was just surprised to see them above 500. To be honest.
Well, they've been at or around 500 all season, right?
That's fair, but still, that either way, that just surprised me, and like just that in general. Which I don't know. I think coming into the year, I was still going off of those like thoughts that I had and my prediction about how like they're gonna be nowhere, but like they are competitive, they compete, they show up every night.
Yeah.
And that's all you want to see out of young teams. Just they're trying, they're doing all they can, they take a lot of games into overtime and shootout too, so they are competing and they're up there.
Banking points. And I mean, Martin St. Louis has been playing a good system, obviously.
He does, yeah.
The problem is talent right now. Obviously, Kirby Dach has only played, 2 games on the year? Mm-hmm. Suzuki and Caulfield, both small guys in the top line. They could really use a big winger there. They played Slavkovsky there, who he's still a guy who's still finding his way, obviously. Mm-hmm. The defense needs work. Goaltending, obviously, is one where it looks more optimistic. I think they want to roll with Montembeault and Primo in the future.
Oh, definitely.
Allen definitely looks like the odd man out. It's like by trade deadline, if he's not gone, that's going to be a shocker.
Yeah.
But my question with Montreal is, we talk about this on the show all the time, the Larry Bird coaching rule. You know what that is?
No, I do not. Please.
So, Larry Bird, he was coach of the Indiana Pacers for 3 years. Very successful. They went to the conference finals, I believe 2 of the 3 years, went to the NBA finals his last year there. But then he unexpectedly stepped down as the head coach and just kept the GM position. Mm-hmm. And when asked why, he said, "You only have 3 years as a head coach before the players stop listening to you." Now, you could say Larry Bird, stubborn guy.
Right.
So let's give it a liberal number. Let's say you have 5 years as a head coach.
Right.
Will Montreal be good in time under St. Louis before the Larry Bird rule kind of kicks in? Whether that be 3, 4, or 5 years, whatever that is. Will they be good enough by that time?
Whoa. What was his first full season as head coach? Last year or the season before?
Was it not last year?
Okay, so I guess he got 3 years.
Well, let's say it's 2.5 years by the end of this year.
Okay.
And we all know the NHL is always the quickest on the draw to fire the coaches, right?
That is very true, yeah. NHL is very quick. NFL is too.
Because with Montreal, too, it's not like they have a crazy amount of help coming. Like, what, they're going to be drafting at, 12?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm just trying to think. I'm just trying to, try and forecast what their future will look like. Cause...
I mean, they need those prospects to come in, like Owen Beck, and really knock the door down. A couple of those defensive prospects, too. Mm-hmm. Like, Logan Mailloux, although he's kind of struggling in the minors.
Yeah, but even then, you get all these young guys in at once, then you kind of... I don't want to say reset yourself, but you kind of take, again, not a step back. I guess it is a reset more than a step back, because you're bringing in these guys who aren't experienced. Sure, they have skill and youthfulness and all that good stuff that you want to see in your game, but they just don't have the experience. So you kind of take a different angle with your team, kind of like what the Leafs did when all their young guys start to play and get bigger roles. It was okay, they're progressing, but they're still kind of stuck with their old ways and what they're doing. They're not really progressing where you want them to. I guess then that's what I'm saying in the playoffs, but I don't know, that's just the Leafs. That's kind of the curse that's put on them. I feel like another team like the Habs, they run on magic, so who knows what they can do. They
have a lot of problem contracts too, though. Like the Josh Anderson, Brendan Gallagher's, Michael Matheson's only 3 years, but Gallagher and Anderson 4 more years ago. Those guys, Gallagher 6.5 against the cap.
Yeah, that one I'm really not liking. The Matheson one I don't mind too much. I think you can live with that one.
Yeah, because you need someone to eat the minutes on defense.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's pretty much all we gotta say for Montreal.
Yeah. Although I do have one more thing though. When you were bringing up their home record earlier, I'm just maybe I'll just find this out for myself later. But I'm just curious what that home record is on Saturdays, because I don't know if I've mentioned it on this show before, but I swear there is magic in that building on Saturday nights, because they so the Leaf game will end, right?
Okay.
And usually it'll go to whatever game is still going on. Sometimes it's the Habs game.
Coverage,
yeah. Sometimes it's the Habs game. They'll be in overtime or losing with a minute left, being outshot by I don't know, 20 or something ridiculous. They'll tie the game up late on just somehow, and then they'll end up winning the game in like overtime or a shootout. And it's like, I swear that only happens on Saturday nights at the Bell Center.
Well, let me see. So they are 5-0-1 at home on Saturdays.
Whew.
All of them are 1-goal games.
I rest my case at that. Like that, I didn't even know that, but it's just this thing I've seen now for like, I really caught on to it last season. I think it was that, like the one I described about like that situation where like they were down, tied it late, won in overtime. It was against Philly. I somehow remember it still. But yeah, ever since that moment, I was like, I'm realizing there's a trend here.
So, but if you do the math, when it's not a Saturday night home, I guess a home game, but not a Saturday for the Habs, they are 2-9-1.
Yeah, that's a problem, and that's
no magic there.
No.
Monday through or Sunday through Friday.
No, but still interesting. That is very interesting, though. That my theory actually did hold water there.
Kind of, yeah, it absolutely does. Detroit. I want to move on to them, talk about them for a bit. So they had a 3-goalie system, which we're critical of. However, now 2 of those goalies are injured, so they've had to sign Michael Hutchinson.
Right.
Ville Husso put on LTIR, I believe, or at least IR. Alex Lyon had a little injury as well. I don't think he's expected to be out long term, but regardless, you need 2 goalies at least.
Yes.
Big hit there for the Red Wings, especially since they have not been playing great as of late. I know they pulled out the win last night in the shootout, but still, they have not looked great, especially since Patrick Kane is coming back.
Yeah.
Does this kind of prove that a 3-goalie system could work, especially considering that you just need guys?
Yeah.
Guys are going to go down.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely can work. And for, like you said, guys are going to go down. You always got to have that next man up mentality. And as long as the goalies have that and they're okay with splitting the net and, you know, they're not being greedy in that regard, then I think it can definitely work.
Yeah, I mean, I think Detroit's big problem is that Ville Husso is kind of established himself as a fraud.
Yes.
I mean, you look at him, you look at his numbers. Most seasons he's had an 895 save percentage, somewhere around there, and he had that one good season, his last in St. Louis, where he's like a 915, 920 kind of guy, but he has regressed back to the mean. Not 895. That's who he is.
Yes, exactly. And that was always the thing with Husso. Like, I know there's people that, like, some of my friends that were talking about him going into the season saying, like, oh, I think he's going to be good or whatever, and, like, I'm picking him up in fantasy. And I was like, Detroit's kind of my team I'm staying away from this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you just don't know what you're getting with them. And even last night, yeah, they pulled out the win, but 7-6, like, you're still allowing 6 goals. And you don't want to see that from your team, especially your young team that's trying to develop.
Mind you, their top 2 goalies are out.
Yeah, no, of course. They'll cut them some slack with that one, but still, we'll see.
Does Detroit make the playoffs?
I do not think so, no.
You think they're too far back?
Not.
Or they're kind of falling out, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think that they have what, like, some other teams have, and again, I think it's more just comes with that experience and, I don't know, play style, I guess.
Because the wild card in the East is becoming a huge, huge mess. I mean, I'm still shocked about in the Metropolitan. Philly has found a way in there as the second place team. Then you got Washington, Carolina, Tampa, Detroit, Montreal, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, all kind of in that wild card chase. You could put Buffalo, but they have played more games, so it's tough to really see them in that conversation.
Yeah.
I draw the line at Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
they're still 5 points back, but they have a couple games in hand, so I'll leave them in there. I'm expecting New Jersey to climb.
Yep.
Although now the talk is that Lindy Ruff is on the hot seat there.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, I have not heard about that, but I could see that. Yeah, if they're struggling like this, it could be something to do with the coach. I just trying to think who they'd replace him with though in the future.
Next man up.
Next man up.
Next man up mentality.
Bruce Boudreau.
Oh my God, can you imagine? Also in the East, I want to get to Alex Ovechkin, his scoring woes. Although he did finally break his 14-game goalless drought.
Yes, yeah. The OT winner.
That puts him at 6 on the season in 30 games, 828 goals for his career. So he is now,
I believe, 66.
66 goals behind Gretzky.
Yeah.
It's looking less and less likely that he's going to do it. I can't believe how his production just went off a cliff like this. I thought he was going to be good for at least 30.
Yeah.
Now it's looking like he's going to struggle to get 20.
I know. It's so shocking, honestly. Like, I don't think anyone would have expected this, but at the same time, I I don't want to sound crazy or like maybe this is a bold prediction, but I could see him just having a hot second half of the season, like just somehow figuring it out is something. Maybe it's
he can get to 30. You think?
Yeah, because like he's never had a season below 30, right?
You are. Okay, so 2021, he missed a bunch of games, scored 24, but
Okay.
that was still
His pace though was still good for like
still around 50 goal pace.
yeah. So if we're going by that,
Excuse me, that was the COVID season, but still like 50 goal pace about.
Right, yeah. Either way though, because even in like the other shortened lockout season, he scored 32 back in 2013.
And that was 50 goal pace as well.
Yes. So that's the thing. I could see him just somehow figuring it out and maybe getting to 30 somehow. I feel like that's like the number that he at least wants to stay at for his career. So I could see that being his goal. And if he gets 30 this year, he just needs another 30 next year, and that's it. Or he needs like 25 and then 5 the year after, and he's hit it.
Yep. So we'll see. We'll obviously be monitoring that. I know Cruz is the eternal pessimist about this, but we'll have to see. I want to move things on to the Western Conference. Edmonton Oilers, kind of up and down team, back down. Although they've won their last 2 games now, so I guess they're kind of getting hot again. I can't get a read on these teams. I think that's the biggest problem there. Jack Campbell has been demoted to the backup in Bakersfield.
Oof.
On the Condors in the AHL. Sad to see that. I'm really starting to doubt that we'll see him back in the NHL again this season.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a really tough situation for him.
But the Oilers, I mean, I've said this before the season. I think they are a defenseman away from being a serious contender. If they can climb back into that wild card, no one's going to want to play them.
Oh, yeah. I 100% agree with that.
Do you think they'll find their way out of this, right? I imagine.
Oh, they have to. They don't. They have to find a way out of this. When you have like just 2 of the best players in the world on your team and you know what they can do in the playoffs, like you got to just find a way to get them there, because once you get there, yeah, anything can happen. Like you're playing one of those top teams, like I think they can easily pull up. I don't want to call it an upset because they do have McDavid, Draisaitl, and everyone else that's there. But yeah, just get them into the playoffs. Let them do the work.
So one thing we've been talking about is how in the West, the top 3 in each division have really separated themselves from the wild card race. 1, 2, 3 in those divisions, I mean, are still so up in the air. I mean, Winnipeg #1 in the Central right now as we speak. Incredible. Colorado falling down to 3. In the Pacific, you have Vancouver and Vegas battling for #1. LA has kind of fallen back a little bit. Going through a little bit of a slump right now. I know people have been picking on Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Yep.
He's kind of struggling on the third line of that team. Hasn't been putting up many points. But you drop down to the wild card for the West, like Nashville, Arizona, St. Louis, Calgary, Minnesota, Edmonton, Seattle, all kind of within 7 points of each other. Seattle may be the only team like they're under 500. Maybe they don't have the games in hand on the teams above them. But Edmonton above, I mean, doors wide open.
Oh, it honestly is, yeah. Like, because Nashville, Arizona, like they're off to a good start right now, and like they're still playing well. Kind of like you were mentioning before with Philly, like holding on.
And they have that killer home record.
Yes, that's right. Honestly, Mullet Arena, man. There's something about that place. Just don't want to walk into that small bar and you get intimidated by the 5,000 fans or something. I don't know.
I think it's just so bizarre for other teams where like this is like.
It's
like
a shock.
These guys are such creatures of habit. You expect to walk into, these like giant, 18,000 seat arenas, and now it's like this little like rinky-dink college barn,
Well, I remember that last season too, like watching games, and I'm like, yeah, like they're just winning games at home. Like their road record might have sucked last year, but their home record was decent.
It still sucks this year.
Yeah.
But like Nashville, they're the team for me where I'm really starting to really look at them. I find them interesting where. They had that bad start, especially UC Saros was playing terrible at the beginning. They managed to get through that, and they're the first wildcard team right now. I mean, why can't this team make the playoffs?
Oh, 100%, I agree. I think I can't remember what I said in my preseason predictions, but I would be very surprised if I didn't have them in the playoffs, because I see them as like a solid wildcard team.
Okay, you didn't have them winning any of the divisions. I didn't note any of that.
No,
but,
okay. I'll have to, that's fine. I'll just have to check on my own. That's okay.
It's okay. But they could be a team to watch out for. Arizona, I don't think anyone had
in
or around the playoffs.
I probably had them like lower end of the division, not even thinking about them. They were an afterthought.
Calgary destined to just be a 500 team, you think?
Yeah, unfortunately. I thought this would be the year for sure they bounce back. Like, I think it was last year Markstrom had a brutal year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I thought like for sure. I think he has been playing better, but like still like Huberto, what is going on there with him?
I couldn't tell you.
Like, is he ever going to figure it out? Like, they're paying that guy how much money for 8 years, and it's like, this is all you're doing?
I think the problem with him is that he's a Robin, not a Batman.
That's true. And yeah,
right? They're paying him Batman money.
Yeah, that's very true. Because that's right. You see in Florida, he had Barkov to play with, who was their Batman, I guess.
Exactly.
Right?
So we'll see. Vancouver also, I want to touch on them. 47 points, tied with Vegas for number 1 in the Western Conference. Also leads the NHL with a plus 43 goal differential. They had a little bit of a bad streak there for a bit, but 7-1-2 in their last 10, looking fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Is this team the real deal?
How
can you say no?
Because I haven't seen, like, it's been a while since they've made the playoffs, so I need to see when they get there, when it really matters. Because we've seen
this doesn't look like the Vancouver teams of years past, though.
I know, but I'm just saying, we've seen many other teams have great regular seasons, and then when it comes down to when it matters, they crumble sometimes. So, I will say they're the real deal right now, and in the season, I think it'll continue into March and early April. But once the season ends, I'll have to see again. But I'm not doubting them. Like, I definitely could see them making a run. Like, because they have everything. They have the elite goalie, which I think is the big game changer in having a deep run in the playoffs. If you can have that goalie that can steal you games, like, you're going to go far.
Fair enough. And a couple Hart Trophy candidates as well. Quinn Hughes, Elias Pettersson, and even JT Miller.
Yeah, and then Brock Besser just on Cy Young, like, scorched this year. Like, so many goals, no assists. I love it.
Yeah, Rocket Richard candidate as well. One last thing in the West I want to get to. Tays calling out his teammates in Colorado.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to fire that team up, or do you think that's going to fire up that team?
I mean, it's got to fire them up, but they do. I know, like, right now they don't have Cale Makar in the lineup. I believe he's out with an injury.
Yeah, he's been in and out basically all year.
Yeah, so he's, I don't hate that from Tays. He's basically just calling out the guys that are in here that are just filling in, thinking like they're doing a good job, and he's just saying like, no, you gotta pull your socks up. Like, he knows, like, they know what it takes to win, so he's just trying to motivate his guys, and yeah, I think it'll work.
And we mentioned last week they are. At least it appears they're kind of building up for one big trade, getting rid of Thomas Tatar, trading him to Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
The rumor is that they're looking for that number 2 center. Elias Lindholm is the one I've seen kind of circled. If they could get him, that'd be huge.
Oh my God, yeah. He would look good in a Colorado Avalanche uniform, that's for sure.
That would change my take about them losing to the Oilers in the first round, probably. Although they might not even win the division at this rate.
Yeah, that's true.
Anything else to add for the NHL before we move on to our Saturday night pick'em?
No, I believe I'm good.
All right, so first up, we begin with the Dallas Stars at the Nashville Predators. I'm going to take Dallas.
Yeah, I think this one's Dallas, although, I'll still side with Dallas, even though Ottinger is still out.
Next up, we have the Vegas Golden Knights at the Florida Panthers. Vegas
Stanley Cup final rematch.
Exactly, yeah, that is true. And I will take the team that won that Stanley Cup final. I'm taking Vegas.
You know what? I'm gonna go Florida on this one.
Okay.
I think Florida's gonna be fired up. They remember the last time they played. It was 9. I forgot. That game was 9-3. The last game, like game 5.
A lot of 9-3 talk on this show.
Oh yeah, unfortunate.
Next up, Toronto Maple Leafs at the Columbus Blue Jackets. Obviously, you know who I'm picking. I'm picking the Leafs. They got to show a bounce back performance after that stinker against the Sabres.
Absolutely. They also remember what happened last week against Columbus when they were down 5-0, tied the game, and then lost it in overtime. So they got to play with. They got to win this one tonight.
Next up, Boston Bruins at the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota looking pretty good ever since that new coach. They got that little bump. Boston, a little bit hot and cold lately after that strong start. Poitras. Londueno, they kind of did that as a way to kind of get some of their injured players back in the lineup. I think that will probably be a good long-term move for Boston, but in the short term, I think they're going to maybe not struggle to get some wins, but it's going to be a little tougher for them, so I'm picking Minnesota at home.
Yeah, I'm tempted to go Minnesota too. I think I will do that.
Minnesota.
I think they beat them the other night in Boston as well, so we'll see.
That's probably a take that we should take Boston, but whatever. Detroit Red Wings at the New Jersey Devils. Detroit coming off a shootout win last night. New Jersey is kind of desperate for wins, but I will still pick the Devils at home.
Yeah, same. I'm going with the Devils for this one.
Pittsburgh Penguins at the Ottawa Senators. Ottawa, could they get the new coach bump? I say yes. Give me the Sens.
Ooh, okay. I will go Pittsburgh for this one.
Wow.
I mean, I know it's got to turn around for Ottawa eventually. They do got to get that bump, but I don't know. Until I see it, I can't side with it.
Pittsburgh also a mediocre road team. Just throwing that out there.
No, fair enough. That is fair.
Tampa Bay Lightning at the Washington Capitals. Washington, one of those enigma teams. I can't believe they're still getting wins, but they do. Tampa Bay, just the eternal up and down team. Give me Washington at home.
Yeah, I'll take the Capitals with this one too. I think they're safer.
New York Islanders at the Carolina Hurricanes. Islanders have been finding their way after a slow start, or found their way, I should say. Carolina, little up and down. I told you, basically, I give the Larry Bird rule. I think that puts Rod Brindamore's job in jeopardy. This is his 5th season. Give me the Islanders on the road.
Yeah, same. I'll take the Islanders all day with this one.
Okay. Buffalo Sabres at the New York Rangers. Rangers, I believe they didn't get the win last night. Buffalo, obviously coming off that big win against the Leafs, maybe feeling a little too good about themselves. Give me the Rangers at home.
Yeah, Rangers. I think the Sabres, yeah, like you said, feeling good. And they're just going to, I don't know. I don't see them getting this one.
So both of us picking all 3 New York teams to win.
Yes.
Seattle, I almost said Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Kraken at the Anaheim Ducks. Anaheim sucks. Give me Seattle.
Yeah, yeah, this one's an easy Seattle.
Chicago at St. Louis. St. Louis,
rivalry.
surprisingly good home team. They got that new coach bump as well. Give me the Blues at home.
Yeah, I think the Blues for this one. Blackhawks played last night as well, so back to back.
Arizona Coyotes at the Colorado Avalanche. Everyone got to be feeling after Taves called them out. Plus, Arizona not that good on the road. Give me Colorado.
I'm tempted to go Arizona, but I think, yeah, Colorado is the level-headed answer here.
I hate picking Colorado because they always screw me, though. Calgary Flames at the LA Kings. LA a little bit down. Calgary a little hot right now. I'll take the Flames on the road.
Kings due for a bounce-back game, though, so give me LA.
Okay. And last but not least, or maybe least, San Jose Sharks at the Vancouver Canucks. Canucks just rolling right now, and San Jose is... While they might not be as bad as we thought they were at the beginning of the season, they are still not that good. Give me the Canucks.
Yeah, I think this is a no-brainer. I'll take the Canucks as well.
Okay, so we are pretty much on the same page. I've not gotten Cruz's picks yet, so Cruz, get them into me quickly before the end of the day, and we will get your picks locked in. So we will move this on to the NBA for a little bit. So one thing I want to talk about is how the LA Clippers have kind of found their way back. It was a little bit hard in the beginning once they got James Harden, but now they found their way back. Now they're a 5th seed in the Western Conference, 9-1 in their last 10, just coming off a loss. They had a 9-game win streak there. Could be one of the teams to watch out for in the Western Conference. Can Kawhi finally get that third championship?
I think any team with Kawhi has the possibility and the opportunity to definitely go far and win a championship. So.
And Kawhi's he's playing a lot of games this year too. Let's not forget.
Yes, yeah, he's screw the load management. Done with that, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, if you can get him going and he's going to be healthy all year, then I see no reason why not. The Clippers can win a championship.
And I also want to comment on the Lakers banner for the in-season tournament. I love it. They did it the way I thought they should, where it's not going to be a banner for every time you win this.
Yes.
They made room for different ones along the way. Our dad had a comment where he was like, oh, they're just going to assume that they're going to win more. I'm like, well, it's the Lakers, so they will.
Yeah, they're always going to be competitive.
Especially, with LeBron. They could probably win next year, although I doubt it. I think the way Kevin Durant was talking about it, I expect him or Giannis to win it next year. If I had to make a way too early bet. Toronto Raptors, we talked about how they were kind of destined to be the 10 or 11 seed. Well, they've fallen to number 12 in the Eastern Conference right now. Chicago's all of a sudden found a little bit of a surge. This team's in trouble. I don't like where they're going. Our first round pick belongs to San Antonio as well.
Oof,
It's top 5 protected, but I mean, unless we win the lottery,
Yeah,
that picks going to San Antonio no matter what.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that. That was the Pirtle trade, wasn't it?
It was.
Ooh.
And we need another big man, and we need a 3-point specialist.
Yeah, this team's years away from being competitive again. I hate to say it.
Yeah, I hate to say it too. They're right back to where they were during the Chris Bosh era, basically. The end of the Carter, end of the Chris Bosh era. That's exactly what this team reminds me of.
Yeah, no, exactly. We have like some nice pieces there, but just not enough to be competitive.
Can Siakam be gone already?
Oh, he needs.
Can we trade Siakam
now? He needs to. Like, I don't know what's taking them so long, honestly.
I don't think there's much interest. I think people want OG, they don't want Siakam.
Well, yeah, that's it, right?
But we'll see. I think we're going to keep it pretty short for the NBA for now. Although Christmas game's right around the corner. Although I think we're going to be more focused on the NFL. Obviously, big weekend of football coming up. 2 Saturday night games. 3 games on Monday for Christmas Day, including the big one, Baltimore versus San Francisco.
Yeah.
Could be a Super Bowl preview. Very excited about that. But first, let's talk about what happened last week.
For sure.
Obviously, the big one is we actually missed this one last week, but the Chargers got smashed by the Raiders. Then Staley immediately fired by the Chargers. Let me just give a round of applause for the Chargers finally firing Staley. Something that should have happened last season. Chargers fans, you can sleep easy now.
I thought it was never going to happen.
Oh, I thought so too. That team is just such a mess. 63 points you allowed to the Raiders.
Especially 4 days before that, they scored 0.
The Raiders!
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be a defensive club.
Yeah, that one, like, I know, the whole time, I still remember, I think it was earlier this season, you told me that Staley was, like, a defensive guru. Like, I didn't know that.
Apparently, that's what they say.
And sometimes when you told me that, I was like, wait, what? I was like, I've always known this team for, like, offense. Like, their defense was good when he first got in, but then it got worse and worse each year. So I'm like, okay, maybe he's not that defensive guy, and then you tell me otherwise, and oh, that blew me away. And that was the moment where I knew, like, he has to go right now. He's holding this team back. And there were people thinking Justin Herbert was the problem. Like, I don't
what?
There were actually people trying to blame Justin. Yeah, honestly,
that's like people blaming John Tavares for the Leafs losing.
Agreed. It's like, no, it's not his fault. He's just being given shit plays.
Yeah, I agree. Saturday was a weird one as well. I mean, the Bengals and Vikings, it seemed like the Vikings just did not want to win that game. They're like, Andrew picked them to make the playoffs. We will not. We will suck. Bengals still finding a way, despite not having Joe Burrow, they could still find their way in a playoff spot. And as of now, they do find themselves in a playoff spot.
Yeah, they're just clawing their way, staying in it somehow, and doing whatever it takes to get that one of those wild card spots. So I think they'll get in. Whether once they get in, what they do, we'll see. I don't think they go far, but
oh no, especially if they got to go into Kansas City or Miami.
Oh yeah, then still though. I mean, no one. I don't know. Maybe we'll get to it later with like a play or like talking about everyone. But like just right now, I guess I'll just bring it up anyways. No one in the AFC is really standing out to me that much.
Not even Baltimore?
Baltimore does, but I think I've brought it up to you like off the record. Like they still have that history of choking with this team. So I'll have to see it once the playoffs get there to believe it. So I do see them as coming out of the AFC, but I can also see them choking away.
I don't know. They got the defense. They have the offense. They're going to be tough to stop, especially if they have home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs.
Yeah.
And my take of 3 AFC North teams making the playoffs is looking pretty good right now. Just saying.
I don't know if that happens. I can't see the Steelers getting in.
Browns and Bengals.
Oh, sorry, Browns, Bengals. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, Steelers are done.
Yeah.
I think they've, especially after losing to the Colts, like they're frauds. Come on.
Sorry, that's right. Yeah, Browns and Bengals for sure. Although, I mean, yeah, because I don't know about Indy. I can see Indy falling out in Buffalo.
I think Indy's in, actually. Unless, I don't know. I don't know about Houston.
Yeah,
but, it's going to come down Bills and Colts for that last playoff spot then?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's fair.
Houston with CJ Stroud, though, would have me convinced. But
speaking of frauds, the Denver Broncos look like they're also going to miss the playoffs as well this year.
Yep.
Losing big time to the Detroit Lions. Cruz, I know you're happy about that one. Where does Denver go from here?
Well, I mean, looking ahead to this week, they have a layup Sunday night against the Patriots, so they can't mess that one up. If they do, then they're absolutely done because that's a free win. It's like on a bingo card. It's a free space.
Okay, it's not the Panthers.
No, it's okay. True, you're right, but it's close to it.
Patriots have had what three wins this year?
Still second last overall.
High draft pick.
I know, right?
A lot of good wide receivers available, and the Patriots need that.
We do.
Miami smashes the Jets 30-0 at home.
Mm-hmm.
Was an absolute. I mean, the Jets just look like a dumpster fire right now. I think they're just like punting for next season, basically. I doubt they'll be able to keep Rodgers, but you never know unless they're able to fix that offensive line. I think that's the big one there.
Yes, exactly.
Browns beat the Bears 20-17 at home. Tight one there. Bears. I think this is classic fraudulent Bears, like showing it when it's like way too late. I think this is also kind of Justin Fields kind of showing his value because it looks like the Bears want to move on from him. Yep. Could be a Patriot next year.
I would be okay with that. I'd be very interested to see how that goes.
My worst game of the week, though, I mean, there was a couple stinkers, but the big one for me was Tennessee just unable to finish the deal at home against Houston, blowing it in overtime. Yeah. It looked like they had that one in the bag. It looked like they were going to cover.
Yeah, it really did, honestly. I'm surprised because they lost that one, especially in overtime, too.
Yeah. They were up 13-3 at halftime, and then bit by bit, Houston chipped away at the lead and kicked that field goal to win. New Orleans smashing the Giants 24-6 at home. Mm-hmm. New Orleans trying their best to win tank division. Giants, the Tommy Cutlet magic is over, it appears.
Yeah, unfortunate, really.
Another stinker of the week was Carolina versus Atlanta. Mind you, it was in the rain.
Yes,
so not great conditions, but Atlanta beating themselves more than Carolina beating them. Putting up 7 points against Carolina.
Oh, I know. It just makes me laugh, honestly. I don't even know what else to say.
They had that division on a silver platter ready for them, and they're going to choke it away like they did last year.
You know, honestly, I mean, I know a lot of people had Atlanta winning that one.
Including Cruz.
I had the Saints winning that one. And
I had the Saints, too.
Either way, we're both wrong, because it looks like Tampa is going to be the one to come away with it.
I mean, Tampa Bay is only ahead by half a game.
That's true.
So it's going to come down to Tampa, New Orleans. Tampa Bay smashing Green Bay 34-20. All of a sudden, Tampa Bay's red hot. I believe they're on a 3-game win streak right now.
Yeah.
Let me check.
Baker Mayfield, man.
And then Green Bay, like every time you think they're about to turn it around, they lay an egg there.
Yeah, what happened? Like before that Sunday night matchup against who was it? I think it was the Chiefs that they lost. Mm-hmm. Like before that, it was the Giants actually, and it wasn't a Sunday night matchup. It was a Monday night game against the Giants. Like heading into that game, I remember like hearing all talk about like the Packers under Matt LaFleur undefeated in December. And they lose it to the Giants at home, and now you're losing again to the Buccaneers at home once again. So yeah, it's like you said. Like every time you think they're gonna do something, they just
yeah. Although Jordan Love's been pretty good, I think he's better than his numbers show. But that team's got some problems. I think they need to address in the draft for sure.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think fans were expecting, like Packers fans. I'm hoping wouldn't expect that this would have been the time to win.
No, they just wanted that draft pick from the Jets.
Yeah, and you know it's a good step to see the team going like with that young and like a young quarterback taking like he looks ready. Like he definitely looks ready to play, and like he's proved it all year. I'd say.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good just to see that from their players and take into next year and just build on it.
San Francisco smashed Arizona at home or on the road rather, 45-29. Shouldn't be a
no,
surprise
it was
there.
A home game. There was a lot of San Fran fans.
That's true. A little Freudian slip there. Washington football team lost to the LA Rams 20-28 in LA, so basically a home game for Washington as well. Rams though, all of a sudden look like they're going to make the playoffs. Sean McVay, serious contender for Coach of the Year. He'd be my vote at this time.
They are back, baby.
They are back indeed. Dallas Cowboys, once again showing that they may not be the true contenders we think they are. Losing to Buffalo 31-10 in Buffalo. Besides that win against Philly, they've really just kind of blown all their games to the top teams.
Yeah.
Mind you, those have all been road games.
That is true, but I mean, unless you're the number one seed in your conference, you're going to have to play road games in the playoffs.
That's true. Although Dallas might get a first game at home for the playoffs.
That I think they will if they can win their division.
Baltimore beat Jacksonville 23-7 on Sunday Night Football. Shouldn't be a surprise there. But the big surprise was Philly losing to Seattle. 17-20.
What a crazy finish to that game.
And giving up the number 1 seed in the NFC East to their dreaded rivals, the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, exactly. That one was just a crazy ending. Drew Lock leading a 2-minute drive. Like, who would have thought that?
Why not?
I mean, yeah, I'm all for it, man. Like, I was loving that when I was watching that game. I was like, hell yeah, go on, Drew Lock. Like, get this upset. I don't want to see the Eagles win. So I was so happy.
Team Chaos, I'm right there with you.
Yes.
And then, of course, Thursday night this week, we had the Rams beating the Saints 30-22. It was a tight game. Saints just once again puking up that any advantage they have for that NFC South. Now Tampa Bay alone at number 1.
Yes. Honestly, that game, I don't know, did you see that game? Did you see any of the highlights?
I did.
Okay. The onside kick with 4 minutes to go when they were only down by 8? I don't know if I would have done that.
You would just trust your defense?
Yeah, because I think I saw a stat too afterwards saying that onside kicks are only 136 this year or something. So
yeah, teams have gotten very good at defending against that.
Yeah, so I would have just given them the ball back on their own 25 because it's going to be a touchback because it's in a dome.
Why don't more teams use the surprise onside? Because I believe that's basically like a coin flip. I think that's 50-50.
Yeah, that one is always imagine opening the game with an onside kick. They're just not expecting it.
No, but even in that situation, line up like you're gonna do a normal kickoff, but then give them the onside kick.
I think
that's gonna throw them off.
Tried. I remember watching that play. It looked like the kicker was gonna do a normal kick, and then he kind of switched directions he was gonna onside kick one way, and then he onside kicked the other way, and I just think it was a mess.
Yeah, I mean, just know what you're going to do going into it, I guess.
Yeah.
Also, one last thing I wanted to get into was that Michael Pittman hit against the Steelers.
Yes,
so he was kind of thrown around there. Tough play to watch. Tom Brady actually chimed in and said that was the quarterback's fault. He said you should not be putting your wide receivers in that position.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Just kind of like in hockey where you throw that pass up to a player.
Yeah,
right
suicide pass.
Exactly. That's the perfect way to describe it. Took the words right out of my mouth.
That's exactly what it was, yeah. That's true.
You just hope that Pittman's going to be okay. Very good wide receiver for the Colts.
Oh, yeah. They're top 1.
And let's take this into our power rankings for the week.
All right.
Who are your top 5, Steven?
My top, so I haven't been on in a while. Is this still a top 5 for the season?
Well, top 5 power rankings, right now, who's your top 5?
Okay. Well, I will go with the Ravens. I don't know, not in order, is it? Or in order.
I would go. Yeah, try and go 5 through 1.
Okay. So at number 5. Oh, I don't know if I can pick a number 5. Actually, that's the one I'm struggling with.
Well, you can put honorable mentions in there too after.
Okay. I guess for now at number 5, we will go with the Philadelphia Eagles, but just barely hanging on to that one, I'm saying.
Okay.
That number 4, I will take the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
3, the Dolphins.
Okay.
2, Ravens, and Niners at number 1.
Okay. So pretty close to my list. I have the Miami Dolphins at number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas Cowboys, number 4. Detroit Lions, number 3.
Okay.
Baltimore Ravens, number 2. And San Fran, number 1. Although, so Philly and KC just missed my list. Dallas to KC, those are basically, they're all in the same tier. There's not much separating those two teams. Top 2 have separated themselves from the pack, though.
Oh, by far.
So, but it's very tight this year. Very, very tight.
And I got to say that, too. Dallas, Philly, KC, and Detroit were all very close in mine as well. Those were the 4 I really couldn't decide for between 4, 5, 6, and 7.
And Cruz's take that there's not going to be a 14-win team this year. It's going to come right down to the final week, basically. San Fran and Baltimore are the only teams that can get to 14 wins right now.
Yeah.
They got to... Well, actually, so at least
only
one
of them will be able to.
Only one of them will be able to do it. So, Cruz, your pick might be pretty good there. So, I guess we'll take this into our Sunday picks against the spread.
All right.
Cruz has sent me his picks for this one. So we're going to be locking them in real time. Sorry, just give me 1 second. And I'll pull up these picks. You have them all ready to go, Steven?
Yep, just bringing up the spreads right now.
Okay, so we're going by my spreads, what I have here.
Okay, that's fine then.
Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. Cincinnati favored by 3 on the road. I'm taking the Bengals.
Yeah, taking the Bengals there too.
So is Cruz.
Although I do want to mention, this is a massive trap game for the Bengals.
Okay, well, it's a division game in Pittsburgh too, right? That's the thing. But all three of us are on the Bengals. Buffalo at the LA Chargers. Buffalo favored by 12 points on the road. That's not stopping me or Cruz. We're both on Buffalo.
Yeah, I like Buffalo here as well.
Next up, Indianapolis at Atlanta. Falcons favored by 2.5 at home. I'm taking Indianapolis.
Same.
Cruz is on Atlanta, though. He's been being that drum all season, even though it's been biting him in the you-know-where. Green Bay at the Carolina Panthers. Green Bay favored by 4 points on the road. Me and Cruz both on Green Bay.
It's got to be Green Bay.
Who is picking the Panthers? That's
crazy people.
Especially coming off a win. That team's not getting 2 in a row.
No way.
Cleveland at Houston. Cleveland favored by 3 points on the road. Me and Cruz both on the Browns.
Yeah, as much as it kills me, I'm going to have to say Cleveland too, but I like the Houston story.
Okay. Everyone likes the Houston story.
Of course.
Detroit at Minnesota. Detroit favored by 3 points on the road. Me and Cruz both on the Lions.
Yeah, Lions all day, baby.
Den all day, we say here at the House That Happens. Washington at the New York Jets. Jets favored by 3 points at home. Me and Cruz both on the Jets.
You know what? I think I'm going to have to side with that. I was about to say Commanders there, but then I was thinking about their defense. Although the Jets offense, though. But I think they can figure it out. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Seattle Seahawks at the Tennessee Titans. Seattle favored by 3.5 points on the road. I don't know how, so I'm going to take the Titans. Give me the home dog.
Ooh, I'm going to say Seattle for this one.
Seattle.
Yeah.
Cruz also on Tennessee.
Tennessee without Levi or Levis. Will Levis. Billy Jeans.
Jack's quarterback.
Yeah, Billy Jeans, as Jay Onrait calls him.
Jacksonville Jaguars at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers favored by 1.5 at home. I like Tampa Bay, so does Cruz.
Me too.
All three of us on Tampa Bay. We have a lot of similar picks this week. So we will all die together.
Yes, we will.
Arizona Cardinals at Chicago. Arizona actually they started off as the Chicago Cardinals. I don't know if you know that.
I did not.
Bears favored by 4 points at home. Me and Cruz both on the Bears.
Why am I tempted to go Cardinals? I just feel like it would be the most Bears thing to lose to the Cardinals. So I'm going to say Cardinals.
You're going to say Arizona, going for the upset.
But the Bears should win.
Miami Dolphins at home against the Dallas Cowboys. Dolphins favored by only 2. It should be more. I guess all that Dallas money. Give me Miami.
Yeah, I'm taking the Dolphins here too. I like them.
New England Patriots at the Denver Broncos. This is now the Sunday nighter. Denver favored by 7 points at home. I'm taking the Broncos. Cruz is taking New England. Who are you taking?
Ooh, I will also take the Broncos, I think. I just don't see New England scoring a touchdown.
And that altitude, I don't know.
Yeah.
Las Vegas Raiders at the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 10.5 at home. Give me Kansas City. Cruz is taking Kansas City.
Yeah, you gotta think they cover this. Like it's the Raiders.
It's the Raiders. They did put up 63.
But that's the thing, right? They put up 63, so now they're gonna come back down to earth now.
New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles favored by 13.5. I say it doesn't matter. The Tommy Cutlets magic, the passing Paisano magic. By the way, he trademarked both those.
That's amazing.
Me and Cruz both on the Eagles.
Yeah, give me the Eagles here. They're coming off 3 rough losses, so they gotta bounce back.
Okay. And last but not least, the Christmas Nighter.
What a doozy.
Baltimore at San Francisco. San Fran favored by 6 at home. Me and Cruz are both on San Francisco. Steven.
I'm going to take the Ravens just because I think it will be a close game. Okay. The spread at 6, I don't think it's going to be more than 6 points. I think it's going to be like a 3 or 2 point game. Something ridiculous like that.
So 15 games. We picked the same. The 3 of us picked the same for 10 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of us on the same page here. I should also mention, Steven, the last time you were here, you did your picks.
Yes.
Where are you?
It was very early. It was
week 5.
Yep.
You were 10 of 13, I believe. Yeah,
yes.
You were 10 of 13. I believe that is still the record here on the show.
Oh my goodness.
It's technically tied the record, but
okay, I'll take
10 for 13. Although best batting average still probably. So
all right,
well, you go back to back. We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I've got high expectations now, and I don't like having high. I like having no expectations because you could fail and no one will bat an eye.
That is true. So that's going to pretty much do it for our show this week. Steven, you got anything else you want to add? Anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to plug?
Yeah, actually, I've recently started streaming on Twitch again. So
where can we find you?
If you wanna find me on Twitch, search up Steves7797. And I stream a lot of, like, every Wednesday night we do F1 League racing. I'm starting to mix in some NHL again now. Actually just did one this past week, a very successful stream. So yeah, hopefully see you there.
Great to hear. Then of course next week we're still undecided about how we're going to do the show. If we're going to do a separate year in a review show and a regular show, or just combine it into one. You'll obviously see when that happens though. But the awards, I want to hype up a few of them. So we're going to have awards such as obviously Athlete of the Year, Coach Manager of the Year, Most Clutch Player, Best Offensive Player, Best Defensive Player, Best Newbie, Moron of the Year, Biggest Sellout, potentially, Best Female Talking Head, Biggest Surprise, Biggest Disappointment, Best Team, Worst Team, Biggest Villain, and of course the Biggest Bitch. So it's going to be great to see. I just want to thank you again for listening to us on The House That Happens. Every week we value you so much. We love you, our fans. I love you. Steven loves you. Cruz loves you. Serge loves you. We all love you. And I think that's just about do it for us this week. Thank you once again. And remember, here at The House That Happens, we keep the vibe alive.
You can find The House That Happens on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Samsung, Podchaser, Boomplay, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at The House That Happens, and follow us on Twitter at House Happens. You can also shoot us an email at thehousethathappens@gmail.com.